Hi, everyone. I'm Steven.
I'm Anthony.
And welcome to Enjoy English. Today's date is May the 29th. We're looking at pages 52 to 55 because we're on day 2 of this lesson under science. And the title, once again, is How One Moment Can Shape Our View.
Yeah, 我们今天要继续介绍探索科学里面的单元。我们昨天呢介绍了 the halo effect 光环效应，也就是指说你看到一个人的优点，然后你把这个优点以偏概全的把它放大到说其他部分也很强吧。在这种情况之下，你会不小心出现很多很多的偏见。然后我们昨天呢简单的介绍了一下光环效应，它背后很产生的这个一些例子啦，比方说像在学校里面，老师会喜欢那种一眼看到好乖彬彬有礼的学生。我们今天要介绍是完全相反的例子，但是是同样的一个逻辑跟原理。所以在这边的话，我们来看一下这个地方，他说 Think twice before you judge， 在你下判断之前，最好再想想。我们赶快来看看今天的内容吧。
How one moment can shape our view.While a halo brings light, the Horn effect works in the opposite way and casts a shadow over someone's character. It happens when one negative trait or bad experience leads people to believe that an individual's other qualities are also negative. For example, if a student arrives late on the first day of school, teachers or classmates may label the student as a troublemaker.Even if the student is generally very responsible, that early impression can cause others to continue judging them in the same way for the rest of the school year. Psychologist Edward Thorndike introduced the term halo effect in 1920. Historically, the names halo and horn come from Christian symbolism.In religious art, saints are often shown with glowing halos to represent virtue and goodness. On the other hand, devils are typically portrayed with horns, which stand for evil and darkness. These effects influence our daily lives without us even realizing it. Even though they help us form opinions quickly, they are still biases.To reduce their impact, we must slow down our thinking process and gather more evidence before deciding whether a person is good or bad based on just one quality.
While a halo brings light, the Horn effect works in the opposite way and casts a shadow over someone's character.
哇，你看看这一段的第一句话好酷哦，它连接到我们昨天讲过的 While a halo brings light， 光环呢带来了光明。你猜猜看，我们今天要讲的相反是什么？一定是黑暗嘛，对不对？所以我们后面提到这个主题的 Horn effect works in the opposite way and casts a shadow over someone's character， 也就是说，光环呢带来的是光明，而我们今天介绍的 Horn effect 尖角效应呢，works in the opposite way 就是指刚好是恰恰相反的。然后呢 ，and cast a shadow over someone's character， 它会让一个人的这种人格啦，或者是那种个性啊，蒙上一层阴影。在这个地方的话，这个 cast a shadow 这个词的话，我们之前就是在前几天的时候，
Yes.
我们介绍到这个西班牙的那个红墙，有提到这个 shadow 这个东西。cast a shadow 就是会投射出它的这个阴影面。
Yeah, just causes a shadow to appear on a surface, just casts a shadow. 那在这个时候不是一个真正的 shadow， 它只是说以人格来说一个抽象的一个感觉，会导致一个人的人格会有一个阴影。对，那 character in this sentence, because a lot of times we know it's a person in a story, right?
Yeah.
The main character 是主角 right? And here, character can also be someone's 人格。
Yeah.
Okay, he has very good character. He's a very good character. 应该是这样讲的。
就变成说这个人的话的人格，不管是人格特质，或者是他品格，有可能是品格。
Yes, I do like his character, like that. You're saying that you like his 人格，你喜欢他的人格，这个人很不错。So the horn effect, think about the devil. Like when people draw the devil, there's usually like a little 角 here, right? We call that horn. Okay, horns. Okay.
Yes.
It happens when one negative trait or bad experience leads people to believe that an individual's other qualities are also negative.
好，所以在这边的话，他就说了 ，It happens when one negative trait。好，它什么情况会出现这种尖角效应呢？它就是在有一个不好的 negative， 我们昨天提到那个字是 positive， 好，只是正面的好的，在这边提到 negative 就是指负面的坏的这种特质 or bad experience， 好，不好的这种经验 leads people to believe that an individual's other qualities are also negative。 你很多时候在戏剧里面看到，男女主角刚开始见面相见不欢，对不对？发现到彼此最糟糕的一面，慢慢好不容易才发现到，其实这个人不坏。其实刚开始的时候，你发现到哇，这个人这方面怎么这么糟？你就想到他其他方面也很糟，完全是我们昨天光环效应反过来的一个逻辑跟心理机制。所以在这边的话，你可以看到说，我们今天要讲到光环效应的相反，尖角效应，它其实就是整个完全是看到坏的部分。
So here, pay attention to that verb usage. Leads people to believe. 会导致人去相信 that an individual's other qualities are also negative. So qualities in this sentence, quality by itself can also mean 品质, right? But here, it's another word that we could use instead of trait. A person's qualities, 就是说一个人的特征. Okay, so here, because the author doesn't want to use the word trait more than once, so they're choosing to use qualities instead of traits. But these can be used interchangeably. Okay, so that's something to pay attention to. For example, if a student arrives late on the first day of school, teachers or classmates may label the student as a troublemaker.
好，这边是一个很好的例子哦。好， It happened to me actually.
Really?
Yeah, 没错。For example, if a student arrives late on the first day of school， 那时候我其实只是因为我们刚好小学的时候换导师嘛。然后我刚好那一天的时候，因为我以往一年级到4年级都是好学生，但我那天不知道为什么莫名其妙就特别的皮，然后老师就看到说这个人太皮了，从此我会被放在班宝的位置，所以就变成是说大家都觉得说这个是个 troublemaker， 完全就是这样的那种感受。他就说了，好，如果说今天 for example, if a student arrives late on the first day of school， 在上学的第一天迟到的话。不管是老师啦，或者是同学啦 ，may label the student， 就是帮他贴上标签，然后上面写什么呢 ？as a troublemaker， 标签上面写就是这个麻烦鬼捣蛋鬼，对不对？他基本上就是一个，或者是不想讲坏学生，但是我自己会觉得说会被贴上一个负面的标签，这是肯定的。
Yeah, so label can be a noun or a verb. And here in this situation, this sentence is a verb. So labeling someone, that means you attach a label onto someone.As a troublemaker, someone who makes trouble. So troublemaker is 一个捣蛋鬼.
捣蛋鬼.
Yeah, right? But I mean, that's just, you're like one of the most hardworking people I've ever known.
没错.
And that's why I think labels are so stupid. And I try so hard to not judge people based on first impressions. I always try to find out more about them. I'm not perfect. I will do it sometimes without knowing it. Sometimes it happens unconsciously or subconsciously, but it's just not fair to people. Sometimes people might be having a bad day, but if you label them as troublemakers or people who are people you can't trust based off of one experience, that's just a pity, because sometimes you might miss out on having the best friendship or relationship in your life.
没错，你有可能误判，然后误判了之后，你可能就错过一个可以跟你当一辈子好朋友的人。那其实这样有点小小的可惜。
Yeah. Even if the student is generally very responsible, that early impression can cause others to continue judging them in the same way for the rest of the school year.
哇，好悲伤。Even if the student is generally very responsible， 也许呢，这个学生他只是今天刚好运气很糟，迟到了，对不对？但是这边的话，平常的时候都是很负责任的。That early impression， 那个刚开始建立的一个坏的印象 ，can cause others to do something， 就是导致其他人会去做后面的事情。To continue judging them， 好，就会继续用这样子的这种透镜去看你，对不对 ？In the same way for the rest of the school year， 好，整个学年里面都会说他就是个捣蛋鬼，他就是个爱迟到的家伙，用这样的标签继续去看待他。
Yeah, so can cause others to do something is another way to say can lead people to do something， 就导致人家、影响人家 引起人家去做一件事情，去做什么呢？To continue judging. So continue doing something. 那个 continue 后面的动词要加 ing. To continue judging them in the same way for the rest of the school year. So you can also say for the remaining time. Okay, for 就是剩下的时间. That's also an option you can use as well. And yeah, I don't know. I feel so passionate about this because I just feel that people, I think the human brain sometimes, like we try to simplify things.
True.
简单化很多东西 because it makes life a lot easier. But when it comes to humans and their character, nothing is so one-sided that one person is going to be bad forever or one person is going to be good forever. Like you just have to know humans are more complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have more layers than, people want to think. And I know you have so many other things you need to worry about, but sometimes you have to give people a fair chance.
Yeah, 要给他们公平的机会。所以老师刚刚用到很多很棒的字 ，complex 这个词就是比较复杂，人有许多不同的面向。它有些面向的话，你看到你不要太快的去做评断，这样的话其实比较给人家一个 a fair chance， 一个公平的机会，不要一下子就未审先判。
Exactly. All right, let's take a short break. So earlier, we learned about the word psychology, and that was in yesterday's lesson. So who are the people that study psychology? They are psychologists. Okay? So here we see this word. Psychologist Edward Thorndike introduced the term halo effect in 1920.
好，我们来看这一段。所以老师刚刚前面先介绍说，我们在第一天的时候学会了 psychology， 好，这个学科叫心理学。那这些在这个学科里面认真研究的学者呢，就是 psychologists。那在这边的话，我们看到其中一位心理学家啊，第一句话就说 psychologist Edward Thorndike， 好，他叫做爱德华桑代克。这位心理学家呢 introduced the term halo effect in 1920。好，是在1920年这一年的时候，他呢就是提出了这个光环效应这样的 term。The term 就是指术语的意思，一个特殊的一个专有名词。
Historically, the names halo and horn come from Christian symbolism.
好，我们来看第二句话啊。Historically， 在历史上呢，比方说今天你要帮一个效应取名字的时候，其实往往会用到历史的一些字词汇，或是历史的一些脉络，对不对？好，就是说了，回顾历史呢 ，the names halo， 好，光环、光晕 ，and horn， 好，就是我们说的这个尖角，就是恶魔头上的尖角。Come from Christian symbolism 是来自于基督教的象征，还有基督教的一些那种特殊的这种 image， 那种意象，这种特殊的那种图案等等。
In religious art, saints are often shown with glowing halos to represent virtue and goodness.
好，我们来看到说 in religious art， 在这种艺术的这种宗教艺术的作品里面呢，你常常会看到这些圣者 saints are often shown with glowing halos， 可能是在头的上面，或是头在背后，有的时候你会看到一些 halos 这样的光环 to represent， 就是去代表着他们的 virtue， virtue 的话本身就是他们非常的美，有很多的美德 and goodness， 还有良善，在他们的这种内在里头。
So represent in this sentence, you could also use the verb symbolize. 象征这个两个东西. So yeah, it's just a personal choice. I think the author here, because we just used the word symbolism in the previous sentence, so they're trying to use a different word to kind of mean the same thing, but it doesn't look repetitive.
Yeah, 这样看起来不会重复，因为我们前面提到了 symbolism， 所以后面再用 symbolize， 把那个 sm 变成 ze 变成动词的话，看起来有点重复了。那我们干脆换成 represent 来代表同样的意思。
And just a side note, the noun form of represent is representation. Okay, representation. On the other hand, devils are typically portrayed with horns, which stand for evil and darkness.
好，你看 on the other hand， 我们刚刚讲完好的这些圣徒，对不对？圣徒的话，我们讲完了就要讲怎么样？好像撒旦啦，或者是恶魔等等。On the other hand， 就在中间当做是一个这个桥梁。好的，好，我们现在讲坏的了。On the other hand， 另一方面呢 ，devils are typically portrayed， 被描绘成 with horns 有角的 which stand for evil 就是邪恶 and darkness 跟黑暗，所以用这样的方式去表达好的跟坏的，光明跟黑暗。
Yes. Okay. So on the other hand, devils are typically. So this adverb, a lot of times you can change it with usually or generally. It's just it's nice to have different options for the same meaning because we do say 通常, 平常 a lot, right?
Yes.
So it's good to know you can use different words. Portrayed with horns. Another word I can see sometimes is depicted.
Yeah, depicted 这个字的话 D-E-P-I-C-T 动词，啊，这个地方因为是被动，所以再加上 ed depicted 被描绘成什么样子
with horns, which stand for evil and darkness. This stand for is another way to say represent or symbolize. So here we're just using a different way to say it so that we're not repeating ourselves. Okay. Sorry. These effects influence our daily lives without us even realizing it.
好，最后我们来看这一段，有点像结论一样的，它告诉我们说 these effects 指的是 the halo effect and the horn effect。好，尖角效应跟光环效应这两种效应呢 ，these effects influence our daily lives without us even realizing it。我们自己都不自觉的会受到这两种效应的影响。
Yes. And that's a big reason why I pay attention to it because I took psychology. And then when I started to realize that, yeah, I think I do that. And I think everyone around me does that. I want to stop myself from doing that. So since I became aware of it, I started to pay attention to myself and catching myself before I judge somebody quickly.
没错，就是变老师在学了心理学之后，知道有这样的效应，才会意识到慢慢观察说，我又开始以偏概全了。我又开始太早做出这个决定 ，jump to conclusions。很多时候就变成是要去抓住自己会用到这种心理捷径的时刻，让给多一点身边的人一些机会，去让他们看看说到底是不是怎样，多观察，多去做，都要先知道这些效应，才有机会去观察到自己的行为模式。
Just being aware of it first is a good first step because I wouldn't want somebody to judge me like that. Okay?
觉察是重点。
Even though they help us form opinions quickly, they are still biases.
这个字出现了 biases 指的就是我们说的偏见。好，这边的话是用复数的形态。他说，虽然 even though they help us form opinions quickly， 虽然可以让我们快速的去做出一些结论或是形成一些意见，但是这些意见 they are still biases 还是偏见而已。
依然还是偏见 right? They're still biases. And then they help us form opinions. You could also say they help us make opinions quickly or have opinions quickly. Just form 这个形成 I love that verb. Okay? To reduce their impact, we must slow down our thinking process and gather more evidence before deciding whether a person is good or bad based on just one quality.
这句话好重要。To reduce their impact 就是冲击或是影响的意思。那如果说今天你要去降低这两种效应对你的这种思考过程的影响的话呢 ，we must slow down our thinking process。我们要稍微慢下来一点，放慢思考的过程 ，and gather more evidence， 好，去收集更多的证据 ，before deciding whether a person is good or bad based on just one quality。好，不能只因为抓到一个特殊的这种特质，你就开始去想这个人是怎样的，开始脑补很多事情。你要收集更多这种证据，用收集证据来代替脑补，这就是我们这一课里面所介绍的一个重要概念。
Yes, so whether 点点点 or 点点点 is introducing a choice between two different possibilities. So whether a person is good or bad. But you also do see sometimes whether or not.
Yeah,
right?
Whether or not.
That's usually if it's based off of one thing that we list, whether a person is good or not. Okay, 所以那个时候才能用 or not. 可是我们这里都给你两个选择，所以不要用 or not.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So hopefully in the past 2 days, you guys learned a lot about this phenomenon, a natural occurring thing that happens to people. And it's really just to save like time and to make life easier for people when they meet, because you meet so many people in one day, it's impossible to know everyone's life story. But that's the point. It's always good to have empathy for people, whether or not you assume them to be good or bad. That's up to you to decide. You don't have to think for everyone if you don't want to. It's your own personal choice. But like I said earlier, it's always a good way to measure this by thinking, would you want somebody to judge you the way you're judging somebody else? I think that's the best way to go about it.
没错，就是己所不欲，勿施于人嘛。你不希望别人这样子乱评判你，你也不会用这样的方式去对待人家。所以 empathy 这个字，老师刚刚用到 empathy，empathy 这个字就是同理心。好，就是己所不欲，勿施于人。慢慢的去觉察自己可能会有受到这样的影响，然后理解了之后，放慢我们的思考，然后这样之后的话就可以。不会以偏概全咯。
Exactly. All right, so hopefully you guys learned a lot about the halo effect and the horn effect, and we'll hope to see you next time.
Bye bye.